He so got you.
Okay, what we're going to do is I'm gonna call on one of you. You're gonna give an explanation of who your character is, your name, your character, your job description, or what it is you kind of do. Remember, this is 1920s era, and you've all chosen professions that will kind of work in this era, so that's fine. And where you live, just tell us a little bit about your character. We'll start with you, David, as Tex. Tell us about Tex.
Well, Tex is a Texas Ranger because I am very, very original. He is pretty a soft speaker. Doesn't really, speak out too much, and he's kind of he likes, like any other Texan, the Alamo. It's really meaningful to him. And one of his, I guess, idols or whatever like that, people that he kind of thinks highly of, Teddy Roosevelt. So he kind of abides by the speak softly but carry a big stick.
Sure.
And one of a very defining feature of him is he has a scar on his cheek from a crazed Indian. Remember, this is the 20s, so I can say that.
Sure. Yeah.
From a crazed what?
Indian.
Oh.
Indian.
Yeah.
Native American for you PC people.
Yeah. Okay.
Back to the racism.
Right.
We are the player characters, so it's
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
PC.
I know.
All right, so Tex, where were you when you got notification somehow, maybe by telex, or I don't know if faxes were even a thing near this, but you got word that there was some strange occurrences going down. It sounds like the local law enforcement doesn't want to take care of it, so they're going to send in some external help. You're on your way to Boston, Massachusetts, to see what's going on. So that's what's bringing you there.
Okay.
Homer, tell me about Evander.
Evander Schmidt is from lives in Plainfield, New Jersey. He was born on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. He's a professor of ancient Greek texts in New York. He's in Boston now because he was giving a lecture there.
Sure.
Ancient Greek texts. He's not very attractive, but he keeps physically fit. He doesn't have a lot of friends. He's pretty involved in his work. He's always interested in weird sort of conspiracy stuff.
Sure.
Of ancient stuff. Yeah.
During one of your lectures, you overhear some students at some point talking about these crazy stories they've been hearing about this house out in the countryside about 3 or 4 miles out of town, and how they should kind of check it out sometime, maybe go drinking there or something. You know how kids talk and stuff like that. You're a college professor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention the other detail about Evander.
Yeah.
Is he likes to people watch, and he'll put on little disguises for himself and just go to bars and watch people. He's very interested in just watching people from afar in just a simple voyeuristic way.
Yeah, so you've heard some students and maybe even some faculty talk about these strange occurrences that have happened, and some of the people that used to live in this house maybe not doing so well now mentally, and it's kind of struck your interest, so that's how you will be kind of involved in this. Servia, tell me about David Rossi.
So, David Rossi is in a special sector in the government, and he lives in DC, born and raised. He's kind of quiet. He likes being a leader when he has to be. But other than that, he stays on the sidelines and acts like everybody else.
Okay. What is his main area of expertise in this organization for the government?
Homicide.
Okay. You have heard that there have been stories going around in your office, just kind of rumors and hearsay, nothing too concrete, about there might be some potential homicides that have happened. Nobody's really sure because no bodies have been found in Boston. And to keep your superiors looking good, they decide that they're going to send out probably a field agent to see if there's any clout to any of these claims. So you are headed to Boston for that reason.
Making my way downtown.
Wait, just
Oh my
past
God.
you're homebound.
Da-na-na-na-na-na.
Yep. Okay.
Na-na-na.
Last second hero was unable to join us, so he is blissfully unaware of the happenings in Boston, Massachusetts. I can't say that word very well at all. Z, tell me about Sterling.
So Sterling is a stockbroker out in Boston, very wealthy. He's very good at talking to people, so he's able to trade secrets, and with these secrets he's traded, he's prospered in the stock market. So he knows. He can understand people and read them a little bit, and he's always trading secrets to get ahead of the game for money to help clients out.
Sure. And in your talkings with people, you've talked to a landlord named Mr. Knott, who is the landlord of a property where his last tenants have gone insane, and he's been having trouble getting people to want to buy it and stuff because of all these stories. He's asked you personally before, because he considers you a friend, whether or not you consider him one is a completely different thing, to maybe look into it for him. It could be quite he would give you a cut, maybe 5 to 10% of any rent and stuff for the next couple years, if he can actually get this place up and going again, because he's been losing money just having a house that people have been saying is haunted out in the countryside there. So he's a personal friend of yours. That's how you're kind of, or at least an acquaintance, that's how you're kind of part of this. So when you guys get into town, the people who are from outside of town, and Homer, you're already here, sort of thing, I think you're all meeting in a cafe because you see that there was an ad in the paper that Mr. Knott is his name. He's having some troubles with his house, and this is where you all looked in the papers, and there's just a note there that needs some assistance taking care of my property and stuff like that. And you all recognize it's the property that has been talked about in whispers and stuff. So you all meet at this cafe with Mr. Knott sitting at a table just drinking a cup of tea. What do you all do?
Am I sitting with him already because
You're walking in
Me?
first. You might be
okay.
you might be grabbing a coffee already, you probably saw him, waved at him, and you you went to the counter to grab something, and you're about to sit down.
Oh, okay. So I sit down and I ask him how his day's going.
How the fuck do you think it's going?
Yeah, well, don't worry. We'll fix it. I know things. I know people. We'll fix it.
I hope you're right, man, because I've been up there a few times, and there's this weird feeling every time I look at it. I can't even go up to the door. We need people on this. Otherwise, I'm losing out $50 a month. In the 1920s, that would be a shitload, by the way.
You're totally overreacting.
I hope you're right. At this time, who's coming in next? Who's the next person?
I'll come in.
Okay, so what are you wearing? What do you look like? Do you look official? Are you in civvies?
Civvies? What do you mean by civvies?
Civilian clothes?
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm in a suit and tie.
Okay. Mr. Knott looks up at the door when the little bell rings, and he sees an obvious agent in a suit and tie, and just kind of beckons you over, just I hope you're here about my ad, he says to you.
Yes I am. What seems to be the problem exactly?
I'm not really too sure. We had a couple with 2 kids, I think it was, living up there, up in my place I rent out for a while. And the last thing I heard about them, they're in the local, what the hell is it called? Not asylum, but you know what I mean. Like mental
facility?
Like sanitarium is what, yeah, they're in the Roxbury, which is the local sanitarium, and I'm sure, like, as an agent, you would know, because you've been to the city, probably on a job before. They're in the Roxbury, and I don't know, they just keep muttering things I don't understand in Italian, and their kids had to go live with their uncles and aunts out in Baltimore. It's just such a bad situation, I don't really know what to do.
Well, I'll help as much as I can.
He nods and
My
just
name's
takes
Darling.
it. Yeah, I guess you two can talk. He just nods curtly and just kind of keeps sipping his tea with shaky hands.
Yes, I walk in, wearing boots, jeans, nice button-down shirt, with a bolo tie and a cowboy hat.
Okay, Mr. Daunt does not see you come in because he's kind of in awe that a government agent walked in and is talking to him, so you might have to make yourself, like, more apparent or, like, come up to the table yourself. He does not acknowledge you yet.
Alright, I pull out a hand-rolled cigarette and walk up to him and start smoking his face to get his attention.
He coughs a little bit and looks up at you with a kind of like, what the hell are you doing, asshole look, but then when he sees your demeanor, he's instantly just kind of shocked and slouches back down and just said, "Hello, can I help you?"
I heard about some strange going-ons around here.
Oh, wow, you saw the ad too?
Yeah, my boss told me about it and wanted to send someone up here. No one else wanted to come up, and I figured, never been up north before.
Oh, well...
It's what a real city's like.
Oh, well, we're all very happy to see you here. I hope you enjoy our town. Are you from Texas? You sound like you're from Texas.
Yes, sir.
Just very specifically calling you out on that, I guess. It's too bad you don't actually have a Texan accent, like, naturally, but whatever, it works.
I'm sorry, I'm not like Hannah. I can't have a big southern accent on a whim.
Right, exactly.
How Hannah has her southern accent, I have no fucking idea.
And then it goes away after, like, half an hour.
Yeah, it does.
It's really funny. He just reaches out his hand for, like, a handshake. And just says, "Pleased to meet you. The name's Not."
Pleasure to meet you, Mr. Knott. Take another long draw out of the cigarette. That's the right terminology, right?
Sure.
Okay. I haven't smoked a cigarette in like 3 years. Okay, give me a break.
He just kind
I
of
knew it. He's smoking the fag.
Is it a smoke break?
He excitedly just like ushers you in to grab a chair and sit down with the rest of us. Out of the corner of Mr. Knott's eye, he notices what looks to be like maybe a school teacher, but he can't really tell. Just kind of sitting off to the side. Homer, what are you doing?
I've just sort of been watching and listening. I'm wearing like sunglasses, so people can't see my eyes as they sort of read the room.
Okay.
But then I take them off and head over and say that I also saw the ad. I also heard about this. What's going on?
He just kind of looks up at you and says, "And who might you be?"
I'm Evander Schmidt. I'm a professor of Greek texts.
Greek text? What the hell are you doing out here?
I have also interests in people and strange occurrences. this seemed like a strange occurrence, so I was interested.
All that's Greek to me.
Nah.
Get out.
So, Mr. Knott introduces you all to Sterling, the person who he was here originally with as a close friend or acquaintance of his that he met through doing some stockbrokering for some of his places he handles as a landlord. And that's kind of just where I'm going to leave it up for you guys to maybe start talking to each other and actually, like, do any of you know each other at all? Have you ever met in some regard?
Not that I know of.
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. Unless like I'm doing trades for anybody over the phone.
Right, and
I mean,
Homer's just a teacher, so...
I mean, I travel across the country, so I mean, I might have seen maybe one of them before on a case.
Does your agency ever deal with, like, the Rangers, the Texas Rangers?
On occasion, yes.
Okay, just maybe not with Tex personally at any point.
Yeah, probably not. Not from my knowledge.
All right, cool. So, Mr. Knott hands over a picture to all of you, which is of the house in question. He tells you that the house was rented out to a family called the Macario family that used to live there. The whereabouts of the Macario family aren't completely known, because the last he heard, the parents were in the sanitarium in the Roxbury, just in town here, while the children were taken off to live with some relatives out on the other side of the country. But nobody's really sure about what their well-being is or any of that sort of thing. It's kind of hush-hush at the sanitarium. They don't just let information slide. He tells you that there was a tragedy there involving them, and he hasn't been able to rent the house out since. And he's hoping that maybe you can find out what exactly happened, maybe go to the house at some point, just kind of check it out, and just kind of restore its good name, sort of thing, so he can start renting it out again. He gives you the keys to the house to visit and check out whenever you want, the address, and a $25 cash advancement.
I take the keys.
Wow.
Can I just take the $25 and go home?
No.
No.
He gives,
See,
he gives the keys
the way
and
we're
the
gonna
money.
split this up
He gives
is
the
like
keys and the money to Sterling because he knows him personally, and he knows he's a stockbroker and good with money, and he will likely be the best person to do any accounting with it.
Oh, $25 for all of us.
Yes, as an
My bad.
advancement.
My bad.
yeah, that's a lot of money back then.
Yeah.
Maybe we should go to the sanitarium.
Yeah, fellas, let's go. Have a night at the Roxbury.
But
Yeah, I'm
I-
eager to get a look at this place.
Same.
He hears you talking about the sanitarium and says they're pretty strict about who they let in. I mean, you can try that place if you wish. I just I wouldn't expect to get anything out of the Macarios. The last I heard, they're crackpots. Just keep talking in, like, Bible psalms, basically.
Well, they'll let us in.
Those are the
I
best kind of people.
kind of flash my revolver.
we're not in Texas. Just wanted to let you know that.
He kind of pulls himself back a little bit, obviously, like, unsettled by a firearm being brandished in a small cafe where he's trying to drink tea and talk about his problems. And he says to you that the last he heard, there might be some information about the house and its origins, probably at the local what's it called? library, like the Hall of Records sort of thing.
My
Oh,
ears
like the
perk up
city
at
hall.
library, and I'm
city
ready to head
hall.
over there.
Yeah, well, I mean, he says City Hall will likely have some information on the house because it is still within Boston jurisdiction, so I'm sure there might be something there. But, I mean, these tragedies have been written about by, like, every newspaper possible, specifically the Boston Globe newspaper. Like, they've been writing articles about this for the last while because they're just kind of assholes about this shit. Like, they're the ones spreading all these rumors and all that sort of thing. So the library, he says, might have like some archives about the house in there, and the Boston Globe is still continuously kind of spreading some rumory shit and hearsay as of right now. So these are all options you could try out at some point.
Okay, I'll go with dumbass. I mean, Tex over here, so he doesn't shoot off somebody's head at the sanitarium.
Hey, don't ruin my night now.
I'm gonna
My
head
night
to
at
the
Rossi.
library because I think that's where my skills will be of most use.
I think I'll follow you to the library. Maybe I can get something out of the people there.
Just nods at both of you, kind of surprised that you don't require any more information, and says, well, I'm going to finish my tea and head off, so thank you for meeting with me, and I hope to hear from you soon.
Wait, do I know where the house is? Like we've said.
Yeah, you
The
have
house
the
is in-
address.
Oh, okay. Whew.
It's about
okay.
4 to 5 miles out of town. Like, it's out of city limits, but not far. Maybe like a 20-minute drive.
Any of you have a car?
I mean,
I don't think
you
I-
have a
I don't-
car, for sure, because you are decently wealthy.
Wealthy.
Yeah, so you have
Well,
a car.
you know, I don't want them in my car, you know, because they, you know,
Sure.
stink and they
Smell.
smell.
Okay, so the Model T's around this time. Okay.
When did the Model T? Hey, I was number 2 off the production line. Okay.
Homer does definitely not have a car. He came down here by the cheapest available seat on the train.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like Homer. I mean, what?
Oh,
I don't know
Pretty
even
much.
what that meant.
Pretty much.
Actually, Sterling,
And
since you're like, this is your town, you are the only one with like your own reliable vehicle.
Okay, so here's what we'll do. We'll take my vehicle and I'll drop you guys off at the library, and then Tex and I will go to the sanitarium.
was this one of them horseless carriages I've been hearing about?
Yes, and remember, we have electricity here. You know, it brightens the place.
Keep in mind also that, like, although the Tex and Rossi, you don't have your own vehicle here, you are considered enforcement, and it might be possible to talk to somebody in the local police area to either courier you around or lend you a...
that's fair.
So you guys want to get in the vehicle and I'll drop you off? Because, you know, I know where things are in this place.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm ready to go to the library.
Okay, so I
Warm
guess
feller.
you all go into your into the vehicle. Who goes where?
Like, sitting in the car?
No, like locations.
I call shotgun.
Now, what's this I hear about a shotgun?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I'm going to the library.
So I'm taking Homer. I'm sorry. I'm taking
Evander.
Schmidt
Yep.
and Rossi to the library.
Okay. And where are you and Tex going?
We're going to the sanitarium.
Okay. We're gonna just start right at the library, and then we'll go to you guys at the sanitarium. So,
Okay.
Rossi and Schmidt, you get dropped off in front of the central library. A pretty big building, probably one of the biggest buildings you've seen in the city by far. Multiple stories. It seems like not a whole lot of foot traffic in this area, so if you needed to talk about anything, it's very unlikely some passerbys would overhear you. You walk in the front door, and what do you do?
I go right to the the catalog card system to try and find.
Okay, give me a
information on
library
this.
use roll.
Yep.
Okay. So you actually fail
Nice.
library use. It is going to take you probably a long time, maybe the whole day, to find what you want to find. But what are you looking for?
Specifically just looking for any books about the house or the history of it. Trying to find out when it was built and anything else about the local history around those times.
Sure. You look around for probably about 4 hours and you don't find anything. It seems like they probably catalog things here differently than what you're used to. A young library page by the name of Samantha Beckett comes up and starts talking to you. Hi, can I help you find anything?
Yeah, I was looking about information on the town's history from the past year. What's the name? I forget that. This is the house of a particular name or something.
As far as you know right now, it's just Mr. Knott's house.
Okay, so I'll just ask her if she knows anything about books on Mr. Knott's house.
Mr. Knott.
If she knows Mr. Knott.
Mr. Knott, I don't think I know that name. I'm sorry. Does he frequent here?
Not that I'm aware.
She goes to the catalog cards and starts looking up stuff about directories and stuff for landlords in the past decade and whatnot. And she doesn't really find anything. She just this isn't really something we would probably have at the library. Is there anything else I could help you with? This sounds like more something you would want from the Hall of Records downtown. They would have a record of all the wheelings and dealings of land.
Do you have any books on just local history?
Local history? Oh, I'm sure we do.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, she looks around a little bit more. She finds you a few books about local history, but none of them deal specifically with housing. They deal more with government issues and just random textbooks about the area of the forming of Boston and stuff, the actual history of the city. Nothing specific to what you would want.
Okay. Do they have old issues of the Boston Globe here?
She says, yeah, of course we do. We're a library.
So I
She
go to
just kind
sort
of,
of look through those.
Yeah, she just kind of pulls you lightly, follow me sort of thing, to a back area where there's just stacks upon stacks of newspapers. It doesn't seem like they might be in any specific order, but you can tell that a stack in your left would be from maybe 10 years ago, and then it kind of goes down by every year in each stack as the shelving goes. Give me another library use. See if you can find it quicker. Okay, so just going based on what you've noticed by the stacks, you find one that's about, I don't know, 100 years ago or so. It's really, really old. But the thing that kind of intrigues you is you see something about the house right away from the picture that you were shown. And this is what... Let's see. If you want, you can read it aloud.
Weber House sold. Andrew Weber sold his fine house on Shaft Street to Walter Corbett, Esquire, after falling ill. Mr. Weber did not think he would be able to keep the house up with his failing health. It is thought a shame that Mr. Weber will not be able to live in the house he completed only this past spring, but it is hoped Mr. Corbett will be a fine addition to the neighborhood.
All right. So after reading that, you decide to kind of still go through that stack of papers and see if you can find anything else, and you find
Lawsuit issued. A lawsuit against Walter Corbett was levied in court yesterday. Neighbors of Mr. Corbett are petitioning to force him to leave the area in consequence of his serious habits and unauspicious demeanor. Mr. Corbett had no statement in response to the lawsuit. He resides at Cops Hill Terrace, North End.
okay. You continue to search.
I looked to see if I could find anything more on Andrew Weber or Mr. Corbett, Walter Corbett.
Sure.
Or even people with like similar, with like just those last names. See any things on relatives or anything?
Sure. About an hour passes by, and you find this.
Obituaries. Walter Corbett, 1789 to 1866. Walter Corbett departed this life June 30th, 1866, at his home at 20 Cops Hill Terrace. Born January 14th, 1789 in Boston, he lived much of his life in this house and was a lawyer. He leaves behind no living relatives. No funeral services are planned for Mr. Corbett, and he is requested to be interred on his property.
You want to search for anything else, or are you done?
Now that I know the house on the house's address on Cops Hill Terrace, just any other stories maybe with that
Sure.
additional piece of information.
As you're putting away that paper, you just kind of look over to another stack, and this is on top, and you decide to read it.
Lawsuit fights will. Another lawsuit has been issued against local lawyer Walter Corbett, this time after his death. The terms of Mr. Corbett's will specified that he was to be buried on the grounds of his house at 20 Cops Hill Terrace, more particularly in the basement of the building. Neighbors have raised a lawsuit to prevent the burial from taking place. Corbett was also sued in 1852 and petitioned to leave the neighborhood in consequence of his serious habits and unauspicious demeanor.
Yep, as you read that, you put the newspaper away. Continue to look around a little bit and don't find anything else of note here.
Alright.
You two decide to do anything else at the library.
Well, I've been in another corner, occasionally trying to help Schmidt out as much as I can, but I haven't really found anything else.
Sure.
Yeah, I feel like at this point, before I look any further into library stuff, I want to visit City Hall and look into their records.
Sure. So, Mrs. Beckett comes up and says, "Did you find everything you were looking for?"
Found some things, but I think I will need to go to City Hall to look at their records to get a better idea of what I'm looking for.
Says,
At this point.
Oh, well, I'm sorry we couldn't have everything you need, but I'm glad you found something. Would you like me to call you a cab, or did you just want to wait?
Call me a cab.
Okay, she does so. A cabbie pulls up. Do you decide to go in and both go to City Hall, or is one of you gonna stay, or?
I'll follow him.
I also tell the woman there to let our friends know if anyone comes looking for us where we went.
Says, absolutely, we'll do that. The cabbie starts taking off, and he takes you to your destination. Let's go over to Roxbury with Tex and Sterling. Okay, so you visit the sanitarium and you walk in. It's kind of a sterile, low lit place. There is one woman sitting at the reception counter, and you just see nothing but white walls and sturdy looking doors. What do you do?
Sanitarium.
Start singing
Let
Metallica is
me
not an
be.
option.
Yeah. Oh, damn. I walk up to her. Wait, hold on. I tell Tex.
This isn't a
I
movie
got
Pan.
I got this. Okay, I got this. I walk up to her and go, "How you doing, Toots?"
She just kind of looks at you sternly. She's probably about late 30s, early 40s, and she's been working here probably some time. She just kind of looks at you like she's seen everything before, unimpressed, and just says, "Yeah, what do you want?"
We were looking to talk to family. This guy back here, he's got family in here. He came up from Texas. He just wants to visit some of his family.
Says, "Look, a lot of people got family in here. You have a name?"
Tex, do I have a name?
You're the one that said we're looking for people here. I'm actually want to talk to some of the crazy people that were, apparently they have something to do with this house down the hill.
Face palm.
She kind of perks up when she hears Tex mention people dealing with the house up the hill.
That
Oh,
catch
mean-
your attention, ma'am?
Oh, you mean the Italians? Yeah, they're here somewhere. Hold on. She starts
Yeah,
looking through her papers.
The Mercutios, I think they were called, ma'am.
She smiles at you politely, and because you actually helped her find the file right away. Yeah, here we go. Macario, Vittorio, and Gabriella. Yeah, they're just down the hall, room, 113. Just give a knock. They're not considered dangerous. Just go right in.
Thank you kindly, ma'am. And I grab Sterling by the arm and mutter some obscenities about him.
As you're walking down the
yes.
hall, you notice it's actually kind of eerily quiet. This is obviously the first floor of the sanitarium here, so the people kept down here are kind of the safer patients, as it were. Like, they're not high risk, they're not screaming and yelling incessantly, they're just kind of there to try to, maybe forget things they've seen, or, forget about troubling memories and stuff. They're not what you would consider the really crazy people. You go up to door 113, knock, and nobody answers. What do you do?
Try the doorknob or what have you there.
Yeah, the door's unlocked. You open it with ease. In the middle of the room, you see an older Italian man who you assume is Vittorio, just kind of pacing around the same 3 to 4 squares, just muttering to himself in his native language. You can't really understand what he's saying. On the couch, you see Gabriella, his wife, just kind of sitting there looking at the wall.
Do you speak Italian?
Do I look like I speak Italian?
Just as a, out of character
I'm
thing, last second Hero's character actually did speak Italian.
Fucking.
We're so close.
It was built perfectly, and then somebody had to go and die.
Have either of you, maybe dealt with Italian people before, picked up anything in school, had friends that were Italian. Like, if you have a reason, you can give me a language roll. And if you pass, maybe you recognize a few words
How
that you
much?
can decipher.
I've dealt with Mexicans. Does that count?
Oh
No.
God.
Oh my god.
This is me being in character.
How many Italians were in Boston at the time?
Since
Like
it's a
how?
port city, a decent amount.
Okay, so I would have dealt with them through work. So what am I rolling?
I'm sure you probably have. Just give me a standard speech roll or whatever, and I'll give it to you on a hard.
I'm looking for the speech button to roll. I don't have. So what am I just rolling?
I think it's just language.
It says language own. It's the only one I see.
Okay, just do
It says
that one.
education.
No, education wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I don't see one for other languages.
Fast talk?
Let me just open up a sheet here.
Unless somebody else sees it.
Oh,
then
language other under other skills.
Oh, and I didn't take it.
Language
So it's
other,
like-
you have a 1% chance. You have to roll a 1 to understand it.
So I'm just gonna roll this because it's a 1.
Sure.
No, and we'll just.
Oh, wait. Did you roll your language own?
No.
Because that's whatever your education is, just in general.
Do you want me to roll that? I just
Yeah,
rolled
roll that
like
one.
what? Okay. Syntax error. Oh,
Okay.
never mind. I clicked the wrong button.
Alright.
Still fail.
Okay. You completely fail. You don't understand. It's not necessarily that you don't understand what he's saying at all. You might catch a word here or there, but the words are like and, the, he, just like the very standard words. And everything else seems to be kind of hard to make out because of his muttering to himself.
Alright, well, I kind of grab him forcefully. Not to hurt him, but to just grab him and be like, hey, you speak English there, fella?
He looks up at you, eyes wide and just like gaping, and he starts speaking faster but more clear in Italian, and you can't understand what he's saying. He's obviously very, very terrified by your presence, though.
English, do you speak it?
He
Should I
just
roll
keeps
like an
saying,
intimidate?
sure, go ahead. Okay, you got actually an extreme pass. So he is actually scared shitless of you to the point where he stops muttering and just breaks down and starts crying and starts scratching at his arms.
Good job.
Oh, dumbass.
He is no longer saying anything. He is just kind of curled up into a ball, crying incessantly.
Okay, I'm gonna go talk to the wife. Search for something. Check the drawers.
Are there perception checks in this?
I mean, I'll just tell you, like, if you just want to look around, I'll just tell you what you see, because
Okay, well,
you walk into the room, there's a couch, a small table with no drawers, and it looks like the edges were filed off into perfectly round corners, and a bed. There's nothing else. There's no drawers, there's nothing that could conceal anything that you can see, and there is no objects that you could pick up and, like, use. So, like, no pens, even pencils, paper, nothing like that.
what about under the bed?
You look under the bed and there's absolutely nothing there. Even the feet for the bed are rounded off.
I can't kind of lift up the cushion or whatever?
Yeah, go ahead. You can do that.
I lift the mattress, see if there's anything under there.
Just extra sheets for the cleaning staff.
How about the bottom of the table?
I mean, you can see the bottom of the table from, like, the door when you walked in, because there's no, like, supporting things around it. It's a very standard table, and there's nothing under it.
Anything stand out on the walls?
Nope, they are completely painted white.
Got any bright ideas there, Mallory?
Jackass. No, I'm gonna talk to the wife. She's not saying anything, and ask if she knows why she's here.
She doesn't look up at you. She takes a second and then just says, "Of course I do. I'm not crazy."
Why are you here then?
She just kind of ignores your question and she keeps looking at the wall.
She's sitting on a couch, right?
Yep.
I sit down beside her and say, I've been asked by the landlord to look at the house and see what's going wrong with it.
She kind of perks up when you say that you are going to look at the house. She looks at you wide-eyed and said, "No, don't go back. Never go back there."
But I have to.
She just kind of turns away from you and she just says, "It'll get you too."
What will get me?
She starts to cry a little bit, not like sobbing like her husband, but tears just kind of rolling down her stoic face. And she explains to you that she remembers an evil presence in that house. It felt like it would lean over her and watch her while she slept.
How long did you live in that house for?
She doesn't say anything.
I sit down. Is there enough room for me on the couch as well?
Sure.
All right, I sit down and I'm gonna do a little charm roll.
Sure. All right, you fumble fantastically to the point where she doesn't even know you're there.
Well, I want to like talk to her, kind of calm her down, and get her to kind of trust me a little bit, and see if I can ask her, "Ma'am, do you what's your husband over there saying?"
She kind of looks over at her husband crying. Then she looks at you just with these cold, dead-looking eyes, and she says, "Nothing anymore," and then turns back looking at the wall.
He's got to be saying something.
She says just the standard, like, prayers that they were taught back in the home country sort of thing, and mostly Bible verses, kind of all of it non-distinguishable, like Bible verses that don't even finish before the next one starts. He's just kind of going through everything that his mind would have learned growing up Catholic or whatever. Like, it's obvious when she says this that you basically know that his mind is completely shattered when how he's acting. And
Y'all Catholic, huh? Till death do you part.
he doesn't say anything. He says it hated him most.
It?
She just kind of looks at you. She just says it.
What it?
She doesn't say anything. You can't tell if it's because she knows or she doesn't. It's just kind of she turns away.
Well, we're going back there whether you want to help us or not, but we would definitely enjoy your help. I would like to roll a charm roll on that.
Sure.
I like the lady. God damn it.
Yeah, I mean, you don't charm her. you don't necessarily even feel bad about it because of like where you are. It's obvious that like where your surroundings are making you less charming just in general. You're feeling the effects of being around people whose minds are obviously broken.
All right, I'm gonna do another intimidate.
Okay.
Asking her, okay, never mind. Doesn't matter what I ask her, I guess.
She's completely ignoring you now. As far as she's concerned, you don't exist.
Dumbass. Again.
Pull out my gun!
Oh, we're all screwed. Okay, let's get out of here. We're not getting anywhere with these two, and we're going there one way.
As you're walking out the door, she says, "Keep my children safe."
We're bringing them with us.
So do you leave?
Yeah.
What do you do as you leave sanitarium?
Leave me be. Do we need? Oh. Well, I'm. Okay, I'm done. I have no idea. Unless you've got something, Tex. Do you want to go back?
I mean, there's nothing of script over there.
Right. Well, Sterling, you have a car, so you can just choose whatever you.
Okay, let's go back to the library because that's where we know they are.
Sure. So you
All the
drive
fancy book learning.
You drive back
Yes.
to the library, and you're greeted by the friendly page Samantha again, and says, "Hi, how can I help you?"
Howdy, miss. We're looking for a couple buddies of ours. Little wormy kind of professor
Bookworm.
type. Yeah, bookworm type. Professor Schmidt, I believe his name was, and Mr. Rossi. You happen to know where they went off to?
She kind of ponders for a moment, and she says, "Well, I don't necessarily know their names, but I did have two gentlemen here probably about an hour ago looking through some newspaper clippings. Might that be them?"
Maybe. You know where they went, ma'am?
They said to tell their friends to go look for them at the downtown Hall of Records, down at City Hall.
Thank you kindly, miss.
She just smiles politely and kind of walks away with some books that she's holding to put away.
Wait. Hold on. Let me, Damn it.
What were you trying
My
to
southern
do?
charm. Just trying to charm her, see what would happen.
You dumbass.
Okay, you make a flirty glance at her before she turns away, and she looks a little bit uncomfortable, but she smiles to herself and walks away.
Southern charm ain't getting me nowhere today.
No, it is not.
I'm gonna charm the hell out of this ghost now.
I asked her if she knows anything regarding the house on the hill.
She just kind of looks at you and says, "Sir, there's many houses on many hills here."
The one that had the Italians in it that went insane.
The Mercury House.
She just says, "I don't know what you're talking about at all. This is a library. You can get textbooks here and encyclopedias and newspapers. I can't tell you about people."
Got anything about Mark Twain fella over here?
She smiles and says, "Actually, yes." And then she goes to her little Rolodex and starts looking up some Mark Twain books.
You got her hopes up.
Mark Twain was around at this time, right?
I think so.
Okay.
Can we just leave
Yeah, I mean,
before she noticed? Like,
sure. She excitedly pulls out a cue card showing like where Mark Twain's latest books would be, and she excitedly looks up at the doorway only to see your backs as the door closes, and she just kind of lets out a like, "Huh," and puts it back and starts doing her daily duties again.
You guys
Okay.
are terrible.
We are going
Oh
to,
man, I wanted to find out how to kill a mockingbird.
So I'm guessing
He
you guys,
didn't write that! Oh my gosh.
I'm guessing you guys are gonna just head over to the Hall of Records, like start driving there.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, we're gonna just fast forward then to fuck is it again? Rossi and Schmidt. You're at the
Mhm.
Hall of Records. Like, what do? I guess you pull right up to the Hall of Records. You pay the cabbie $1, and he's happy. He drives off. You're just in front of the building. What do you do?
Well,
Start
start
walking.
going inside. For
Okay.
one.
You guys go inside. It's just a giant building of like nothing but what are they called? Like filing cabinets full of files.
Oh joy, this should be fun.
You see a bunch
Was
of
there nobody
people
in
in
here?
suits and like
Oh,
maybe
okay.
some cops and stuff just looking around at different things, but nobody looks like they're ready to help you. They're all just there for their own accord.
Is there any kind of obvious like system to how these are organized that I could start looking through stuff, or do I have to wait for someone to?
Oh no, give me a
Help me.
library use roll. See if you
All right.
notice any system. Okay, not only do you notice what system they're using, you're actually proficient in looking stuff up in it, so you can probably find whatever it is you're looking for
All right, cool.
with very
So I-
little effort, like maybe 15 minutes.
So I'm gonna start with housing records and looking up the specific 20 Cops Hill Terrace address.
Sure. Excuse me. You look up as much information as you can. You notice it's all the stuff that you probably wouldn't be interested in, like the square footage of the house. Like exactly its location on the map, which you already know because you guys have the address. Some of the previous tenants in it, of which you recognize the name Orbit, and I don't know if you do or not, you recognize Macario, the name Vittorio Macario on it as well. And then you notice that after that, there's just nothing. Like, that's obviously the last people there. You find a lot of technical things about the house. You see that there is a basement, a main floor with a few rooms, and an upstairs floor with about 3 rooms and a bathroom.
Is there anything I can find out about like the land from before the house was built?
Sure. I mean, it was built back when Boston was still kind of coming up. It was built out in the countryside, just kind of as a getaway house for some people that lived in the city. It wasn't ever meant to be a house that people really lived in or liked or anything, because if you didn't have a vehicle, it was really hard to get anywhere. Like, you would have to walk for half the day basically to get somewhere and then back. For people with vehicles, it was still kind of a hassle to go out of their way to do anything in the city, so most people just kind of stayed in the city. It was almost like a getaway house, but a kind of big one at that, as you can tell from just seeing the technical records of the...
I can look up the details of the 2 lawsuits that I've saw mentioned of in the paper. Is there anything on that?
Yes. The lawsuits basically were neighboring areas and the city in general. Everybody was grossed out because in Walter Corbett's will, he wrote that he was to be buried by his house, in the what's it called? The vicinity, on the land where the house is, for some unknown reason. And there were lawsuits against it. People were trying to file, but they never got anywhere. And then they were just kind of forgotten about after he died.
What about the lawsuit to get him to just move out of town, like the earlier lawsuit?
Yeah, nothing ever came about it. Walter Corbett was a smart man with resources.
Is there any particular details about like the particulars of why people wanted him to move out in there?
Yeah,
Like
he was kind of just
what evidence?
he was kind of a piece of shit, just in general.
Okay.
Like he didn't fit what people wanted around that. Like he was kind of a creepy dude. He was kind of just like an asshole, and he was doing some creepy shit. You see that the executor of his will, though, was a man named Reverend Michael Thomas, who is a pastor of the Chapel of Contemplation and Church of Our Lord Granter of Secrets.